Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith, the Smiths in the Black here. Strat Time Report. You can see what's going on here. So with the SPY, we've been watching this all month here. The outside month, the poke down, and now coming back for the outside month. All right, so far still intact. Remember, we had an outside day yesterday, which means the opening selling was rejected, and that's still being rejected going into the recent highs here. As you can see this yesterday, remember this was very important. Last week that 2 down by taking out the lows, 2-2 reversal. That's still working, right? To try and get this outside month. So as far as we know, that's still working in SPY. If we go to QQQ, also working the outside month. Got a little bit more distance on that after last week's 2 down, 2 up reversal. This is still continuing as far as we know. Drifting into the highs. If we go to the Dow Jones Diamonds, just kind of sitting there, but still slowly chugging, trying to not be an inside month. Go try and take that out for a 2-2 reversal back into the high. So all this kind of stuff still really working. There's a few things that we want to look for, and some of those are those tech names that didn't go 2-2 last week. Now they are, and that's what's helping propel this. But oftentimes we'll go to the gap list up in here, and just want to show you a little thing about what I mean about trading the gaps. So BNTX. Now, if you go to a 15-minute, and I know I talk mostly about the 30s and 60s, that helps slow that down for people. But what you're going to see here, this right here, the inside bar, the poke up, that's a rev strat. Boom, you're going to stop out guys who are long against this, and this, right? And if that works, you had an inside 30 to the downside right here, 2, 1, 2. And if that works, it triggers the 2-2 reversal on the 60. 2 up, 2 down. Boom. Then if you go back to the 15er and say, I'm going to stop myself on the 15, right here, 2 down, 2 up, you can reverse and get long because you've already got their money, right? And that's what we like to do. We like to play with house money. And then you can go back the other way, and if that works, then on the 30, here, you get the 2 down, 2 up reversal on the 30. Right, so there's a lot of good ways to look at that. But what I was talking about was remember like the last week, the massive amount of 2-2 reversals on the weeklies. Right, that told us what was going on. So you had like Nvidia, 2 down, 2 up, like almost everything was doing that, and the Coop, 2 down, 2 up. And so what we're looking at over the weekend, if you follow my weekend vids, is the things that didn't do that, are they going to start to do that? And so we'll go SMH. Here, you can remember that did it, 2 down, 2 up, and now following through. And so by going through those, you can see stuff like NXPI. Join in the party, right? And this is what a continuation looks like on the other stuff, is do you have any of these components doing this now this week? 2 down, 2 up, NXPI working. If you go to Texas Instruments, 2 down, 2 up on the week, having a nice little day there. If you go to Corvo, 2 down, hammer week, 2 up, right? And then you, on the continuation on the daily, the 2, 2, 2, and off she goes. If you go to SWKS, hammer, 2 down, 2 up, and so all these are helping propel that SMH again, right? And you've got your Marvells in there, and here the 3, 1, 2 into the highs from the weekend vid, that still works. How about Microchip? How you doing, buddy? Microchip, 2 down, 2 up, right? It's called a simultaneous break on a weekly basis, right? So this is good to know for the rest of the week about all these kind of things, because I was asked last night about the power. What does enforce mean? What enforce means is that for the rest of the week, this 2-2 reversal is good so long as you're above last week's highs, right? So we can continue to go to smaller time frames to look for buys to counter this and try and come back up on those months. So a lot of good things happen in semi-chips, SMH itself. Here, once again, the continuation. If you go to LRCX, see this. The outside week up 3-2. So what that means is that the early selling was being rejected to make for an outside bar, and that's still being rejected as far as we know. If we go to Solars, SEDG. So they came into the solars early. We knew about that. And there you go. Bring me up, triangle the out, inside day, boom, off she goes, and that gives us that outside month, right? So you got a little bit of exhaustion risk, but once again, remember, last week we got a ton of these. The 2 down, boom, right back to the previous range. You know what happens in a situation like this? You'll have guys drawing horizontal lines across this being like, there's my support level, boom, they're gone. Come ripping back through this range. On the weekly basis, on the 2-2 reversal, if you go to Sun Power, and Sun Power is a 3-2 day, which means yesterday they tried to sell and that got rejected. Boom, and off she goes. And here you go, inside month to the upside, the 2-1-2 reversal back up. And if we go to Run, and Run, there you go, Rev Stratter. Stop them out. Here's my support level. Stop them out. Boom. 1-2-2 Rev Strat going back up. That gives you the outside bar. 1 bar Rev Strat on the month. All right. If we go to FSLR. FSLR, 2 down by taking out the lows yesterday. 2-2 on a Tuesday, a 2-2 reversal on a Tuesday. And the reason this is important is that although this was a 2 down by taking out the previous day's lows, it is green. So you already had continuity on this thing, right? That's good. And then boom, here we go. And these two become an outside bar of all that. And the other thing that's important is that you're seeing it all in the solars and the semis. And so that tells us what institutions are doing today. They are rotating into semis and solars, right? Is that important to know? It is, because they're buying almost anything that any semi that you can think of. They're also buying the solars across the board. If you go to ENPH, last week was a 3-2 outside week to the upside, which means the selling down here got rejected, and that's still happening as far as we know. You got your outside month. There's a lot of things trying to go outside month, so we'll see if that sets up again for us. If you go to the 30, nope, wrong chart. Anyway, go to Twitter. Inside week to the upside. So there was another delayed move. So one of the things you'll see, and sometimes I do some scanning here for you to show you, is like if you look right now at how many things are taking out last week's highs and how many things are taking out last week's lows, it's discernibly to the upside, right? If we're going down, that would have to change. So far, that is not occurring. All these outside months look like they're going to happen so far. So you can see the Twitter took out the lows, changes continuity here, now looking for an outside month, right, based off this inside week. If we go to Johnny John, the earnings parade, things going well here. What the heck's this? Lower low, 2-2 reversal. And then so when you come in and you look at the daily, you see that was a 2 up, 2 down. You can get it as soon as it took out today's highs, right? And as soon as it took out last week's highs. Boom. You're in. And off she goes. Now just stalling out just a little bit. And we'll see how that goes going forward. If we go to FSLY, last night's vid, inside day on Monday. Hadn't picked a direction just yet. But boom, inside day didn't gap and off she goes. A lot of people got some good stuff out of this thing. If you go to the, that's a daily, right? Let me get this down here. There we go. So, once again, what happened last week? 2 down, 2 up. Back through previous range. And you always want to come back through a previous range because when you have full time frame continuity and it's green on all time frames, that tells us that the level of aggression of buyers is high. They're taking the offer. And when you come back through here, you're going to stop people out who are short against this, and this, which means you already have aggressive buyers, and when the stops go off, they remove liquidity, right? They turn people into buyers, so you get even more. That's a bigger advantage, and that's going to give you the outside month down into here. If we go to ASAN, some exhaustion risk by going into the highs, but nice little move. You can see last week, the 2-1-2 reversal. and then the continuation up into here. So we'll see. A little fast in here. You did have a nice inside 30. That's how you'd enter into that one. If we go to Jazz Farm, and Jazz Farm, inside day to the upside, right? Outside month. The 3-1-2, I believe, here on the week. Yep. Outside, inside, real move. And the reason this is important is because always looking for the rotation and what's going on. So yesterday we knew IBB was weak yesterday. Now you got a 2-2 reversal on a Tuesday in IBB, right? And that's important because we knew yesterday like GILD was weak and now going inside day. But it was inside week to the downside and inside month to the downside, and IBB was weak. So we wanted to see if they come back and keep selling all that stuff. So the good rule of thumb is if you have an inside bar, that wasn't weak yesterday, right? So if they recover, there's every reason to believe this is going to work. It was in the vid last night. If we go to YMM, so we can go down the food chain just a bit here. Costco coming up here. So YMM, and just still an inside week, we can see on a percentage basis, having a nice day, coming back through a previous range. So that's good. We want to come up here and see that. Right now inside on the 30, we'll see if they take that out. Looking at Costco coming up here. What's Costco doing? Costco's still going. Had a nice day yesterday. Remember, that's an inside week to the upside, looking for the outside month, right? To take out both sides, because we know that phenomenon exists, and it's happening in a lot of things. If we go to, well, here's a good symbol for you. ATH, all-time highs. There we go. So good old all-time highs goes to all-time highs and then pulls back a little bit. Nice inside day to the upside. Now it pulls back. See if you can get an inside 30, something like that, out of there. If we go to the bros. In the bros, remember last week was the 2-1-2 reversal week. That's still going. Still going towards the highs, taking out last month's highs, having a nice day, just a little exhaustion risk there. If we go to some of the monthlies, so what you're going to see is, like, people sometimes will ask me about, you know, what time frame do I look at? I'm like, look at all of them, because you're going to see this is extremely repetitive. If you go to VMW, what do you have here? The 2 down, 2 up month. Right, that's good all month, and you're coming back to a previous range of all these guys. That's good. I want to stop some of these guys out when I have green on all time frames, because I know I've got aggressive buyers, and I'm going to stop some people out, like CME. And CME here, 2 down on the month, boom, back to previous range, right? These are in the weekend vids. If we go to little guy, HX. And HX, just a little guy, look at this thing, picking up some steam, shenaniganer. We'll see if that cools off and gives us anything more on that. But you can see we like nice long red and green bars, and these are nice and green. If we go to Star Surgical here, what's that? That's a 2 down by taking out the lows. That's a 2-2 reversal on the week. That's good for the rest of the week, so long as this thing's over that. 118.76, right? So we can keep an eye on that for the rest of the week. And the weakness, it's more right now things just not participating as opposed to having real weakness. If there's any kind of group that would be weak, it would be somewhat of the pandemics. You got United Airlines coming down, American Airlines coming down a little bit. So the airline's a little bit weak. How's Delta doing? It's not too bad. But if you go to also the cruise ships, CCL taking out last week's lows, coming down, going after the Rev Strat month. 1, 2, 2. Here, if you go to RCL also coming down a little bit. Marriott. So we always want to keep track of what they're doing, right? What are the big boys doing? Right now they're dumping some pandemics, they're buying solars, and they're buying chips. 2-1-2 reversal day, inside day to the downside there. We have also SI coming down here a bit after earnings. That's a bit corner. Just kind of sitting there for now. Inside 60. We'll see how that goes. Ulta coming in a bit. Ulta taking the inside 60 to the downside right now. Down, sideways, measured move. Give me puker. If we go to SBNY and the banks, here, there was your 2 up, 2 down reversal, now trying to rally back. Would be rev strat if you can take that out. But we'll leave it there. Like I said, a lot of things just not participating. And right now we're just kind of sitting here. But we always want to see what that rotation is doing. We want to see how many 2s are going off in each direction on the week. And right now, full steam ahead again. All right, that's going to do it for today. I'm Rob Smith with Strat Attack. I'm sorry. Strat Time Report. Strat Attacks tonight. All right.